everyone, welcome to an episode of Doctor Who Reviews. Today I am doing the episode Rose, which is in dedication for the 10th anniversary of New Who. Well, you may be asking, why go for new Doctor Who? Well, it's the reason why I got into Doctor Who overall, because I got into the new series. Well, my first episode was actually of David Tennant. I believe it was The Last of the Time Lords. I was a little bit late into it, and then Voyage of the Dam. And I officially got into Doctor Who when it was around, what's it called? I think Fires of Pompeii. That was actually really when I got into Doctor Who, and I thought that was a pretty good episode. So I thought, oh, why not continue it? And I did. I did want to watch more of it, and I thought, wow, it's a really amazing show. I really like all of it. So today, in dedication, I want to thank the new Doctor Who by doing a tribute video. Well, yes, I would do an anniversary trailer, but I'm doing this on a Monday, just a couple of days before the 10th anniversary, so I'm doing this really fast as possible. Get this done, under the way, put it on YouTube just around the time of the 10th anniversary. Yeah, so I'm doing this really tight fast. So okay, let's get on to the review of Rose. So I somewhat sort of remember Doctor Who when I was very little. I mean, I was born 2 years after the TV movie, so technically Paul McGann would have been my Doctor if I actually watched Doctor Who then, but I haven't watched it. But I do especially remember in 2005 some of the trailers. I mean, I would have been about 7 when they came out, so Doctor Who was really quite a time then. I mean, not many friends wanted to talk about Doctor Who then, but I never got into it then. But a few years later, a couple of friends said, oh, you should give a couple episodes a watch. I did that, and yeah, it's what really got me into Doctor Who, because a couple of friends recommended me the episodes. I said, fine, let's watch it. I especially remember the trailers for Christopher Eccleston, where he says, have the trip of your life. And it's all those special effects just to show, ooh, new Doctor Who. It's not the old style where we don't have any explosions. Doesn't look very cheap. It's brand new, and it's not the Doctor you're thinking of. So that's why I reckon some of the new audience would want to watch it, because back then I think in classic Doctor Who they didn't have the best of special effects. I have to admit, especially come from a classic fan. I think the effects are so much better in the new series. Yes, I still prefer the stories in the classics, but this I still prefer. I still prefer the classic stories, but I do like the effects of the new series. Now, I think Rose is a great way to start off a new series, a revival of Doctor Who, because not many fans would have known of the episodes, and it's much easier for fans to get into the episode straight away. I mean, it's like a lot of lore that you have to learn into Doctor Who, but now it's been a lot easier to learn. And with the new series, you don't have to learn it. I mean, it's very easy to understand for people who've never watched it, that want to get into the series. I mean, it doesn't really talk about the classic Doctor Who, so you don't need to be a fan of that to understand any of the concepts of it. This episode gives you the basic understandings of what Doctor Who is, for people who have never watched it before, and I think that's a fantastic way of doing it. And what I find odd to start off with is that the title sequence, it starts straight at the beginning, really, and it makes sense to do it afterwards. I know that the classic series, they used to do it straight away, as soon as the show starts, the title sequence go in, but I think it was a little bit better once you see the TARDIS during that shot after the explosion of the building, which I will explain later. I think it works a little bit more effectively because of going, oh look, it's the Doctor, dun 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 dun, and the thing. I just think it works better. Maybe there's other people that might disagree, but I think that's personally my opinion. I just prefer it like that. I mean, there's a friend of mine's, Nicholas Brent, if you're watching, here's your mention. He's done a video basically showing what would have been better of like the TARDIS being shown when Rose walks away, and I think that works a lot better, honestly, in my opinion, because it kind of shows, oh, that's the Doctor, that's the character that we should know about, and that's mysterious. And we start off like the filming after the title sequence with Rose to get to see like her daily life. I understand why they did that. They just want to give you like a brief introduction of the character, but honestly it's so fast I don't think it's really necessary. And Mickey, I don't like Mickey. I'll be honest. He's not a character I find very interesting. He's just there for a side joke, to be perfectly honest. No offense to Noel Clarke, I think he's a great actor, but I'm sorry, I don't like Mickey. I know there's a lot of fans that have a great appreciation for Mickey, but I'm not one of them, I'm afraid. And then, I think it's during like the scenes during London, yeah, when they're in London, and so they have the meeting up, and I personally don't see the appeal of it. I understand it's to give a brief introduction, and then next we're introduced to Jackie, I think at the beginning. I think Jackie's worse, to be honest. I know but in some ways, she's representing the mothers. She's like represented as a mother, so I don't blame her. I think the actress who slipped my mind, I might just have to have a look quickly because I'm looking at the DVD. I don't know, sorry. I don't know who she is, but I think she played the part well. I think it's Camilla or something. I can't remember her name. Don't know what it is. I think she just plays as a stereotypical mother, just to be the reassuring side of Rose. Later we're kind of shown a Rose going into her daily routine of her job, and just to show kind of what she's like. I think that's good, and you don't see really many of the companions doing that, but honestly, for my opinion on the introduction, I think it's actually not bad. Yes, because we're introduced a whole bunch of new characters. After the TV movie, we don't know anything else. So it's I think honestly, it's a great way how to introduce new characters into the show. I think it's a good way. Because we don't know anything about Rose beforehand, so now we learn a little bit more about her. And we get to learn a little bit more about family, which I don't think is necessary, but as we get to learn a little bit anyway, which is, I guess, some ways good. And when Rose later has to go into the building, I think it's a great way how they introduce the Autons, because, as you can tell, I'm a big fan of the Autons. I mean, look at my name on my YouTube page. You can clearly tell I'm a big fan of the Autons. I mean, look, see, I've even got the Autons here, and one up there, I don't think you can see, but I'm a big fan of the Autons. It's a creative way how they introduced them into this story, as obviously there might be some people that won't know anything about Doctor Who, so they've introduced the Autons greatly as if they're a brand new monster, even though they appeared back in 1970 when John Pertwee started. Which is interesting because John Pertwee started with the Autons, and now Christopher Eccleston started with the Autons, which is very interesting indeed. I personally think that creates a lot of great suspense when Rose finally sees the Autons and she gets a bit nervous, and then suddenly you get the Doctor grabbing into her arm and say, "Run!" And they basically run off. I don't know, honestly, how the Doctor actually knew where Rose was. I know they're not this is just them introduced all together, and this is actually the first scene you see of Christopher Eccleston. It's just interesting, like how does he know exactly where it is, unless he found it via the sonic screwdriver, which makes a little bit more sense, I guess. Anyway, it's great how they're introduced, really. And then later we see the Doctor and Rose just walk out of the building, and because they know that the Auton's coming out. Then we see a little bit of Christopher Eccleston's character, which I do think, personally, I don't like the costume for him. Just to start off with my dislikes, I don't like his costume. As you can see here, it's too basic. That's what I don't really like. Actually, is a better example. I don't really like his costume because it's too basic. I it doesn't really reminisce as the Doctor to me. That's really why I don't like it, but I can understand why people do like it in some ways, because after all, he's just finished off the Time War, he's destroyed Gallifrey. So he wants to hide away in the shadows. That's how I could perceive it to be, as he doesn't want to be the hero that most people know him. He just wants to be left alone, left sulking into the darkness. Now don't get me wrong, Christopher Eccleston is a fantastic actor. I think he's great in this. It's just I don't like the costume. That's my main biggest nitpick on it. I know nitpicking's not the right thing to do, but I just really don't like this costume. I'm sorry, it's about nearly as worse. Well, actually, I kind of prefer this than the Colin Baker costume. And then we see that Rose leaves the building, and then the Doctor ponders off. And then, basically, as soon as she left, bam, explosion. Michael Bay must have been there. But seriously, I think it's kind of good that we got kind of an explosion, but was that necessary? Did he put a bomb there or something? I was a bit confused. Maybe I just forgot for a second there. I mean, to be honest, actually, I just come back from watching the episode itself. So, I don't understand. Did he put an explosion there? What? I don't know, to be perfectly honest. Then we see Rose walking out, running away from the explosion. Then we see the TARDIS. We see that it's had a bit of a redecoration, as you can see. A really big redecoration. Changed in some ways. I don't know if it's for the good or bad of it, but I like it. It's got a bit of a good new look to it in some ways. Forget that. There we go. And then we're kind of put back to Rose's life. Okay, I understand that we're supposed to learn more about the character, but it would have been better if the Doctor was actually still there, and I don't know, Rose goes into the TARDIS and learns more about the Doctor. I do like a bit about the Clive though. Going back to that in a second, but then we see Rose at home. The Doctor actually arrives at the house. I just don't know how he managed to actually get to where Rose is. It's just weird for me personally. I don't know how he did it. And then we just get to a weird side of Jackie trying to flirt with the Doctor. I'm sorry, it just sounds stupid to me. I think it's really cool how they do the effect with the hand that's just trying to grab him like that. I think that's really cool, to be honest, how they did that. And then, you know, the Doctor uses Sonic, which I think, yeah, that's the only way how he could have done it. And personally, I think he could have done it a better way, but with the Sonic, I think that's the only way how he could possibly done it. Now, talking about the Sonic, it's got a new design. I kind of like it. I don't know. It just doesn't look like the Sonic that I'm used to, but I know this is supposed to be a reimagining, new changes for the better. I guess it's a good change in some ways. And then we're kind of introduced later to Clive, which is actually someone who is religiously interested into the Doctor, let's just say that, and he's a big fan of him from what I've seen. I mean, it's actually the official website. You can actually go to the website where they do the whole Clive, who is Doctor Who. I think that's quite cool how they did that. I don't know if it's the official BBC, but I think it is. Anyway, I think that's a really cool thing, and I quite like the thing when Clive says to Rose that the Doctor is a name passed on from father to son, which isn't really, it's regeneration, but he doesn't know, he hasn't met the Doctor, so that's how he perceives what the Doctor is, a man from father to son, generation. And then you see lots of interesting pictures of the JFK assassination, and then the Titanic, and then I think this Paradise Island. I don't know what it is. But I think they're really good references just to say that the Doctor's been travelling. We don't know when this was taking place. This could be in the possible future for the Doctor. I mean, the Doctor might not have done that yet, or he might have done that during the end. That's how I believe it could be, personally. And then we see Mickey getting eaten by the garbage thing, by the garbage can. Or trash can. And it's a really cheesy effect, but I kind of like it in some ways. It's just so cheesy. That's classic what classic Doctor Who would do. In some ways, just use a really cheesy effect. And I think it's done really well, actually. And then that effect on Mickey afterwards, when you see the alt-on Mickey. That looks so weird. How could you not tell that's Mickey? That's easy to see that's not Mickey. Especially when he says pizza and baby. It's just, how does she not recognise it though? And then we see the Doctor actually meet Rose once more. And then we finally see her going in the TARDIS. And it's got a bit of a change, we can clearly say that. And what do I think on the console? It's okay. A lot of people would say it's the best console, but I think it's okay console. Yeah, it doesn't really reference much the classic Doctor Who design, so the Randall, the 80s TARDIS. But remember, the TV TARDIS, that was completely different. They had to change that. And remember what the whole new series is changing. This is what had to change the TARDIS inside. And then later we kind of see Rose and then the Doctor going around London. They try and see where the transmitter noise is for when the Autons attack. And I don't know how the Doctor not notices it's actually the London Eye. It's clearly, obviously, he said a circle and he said, well, why don't I see that? And it took him like about 3 tries to actually see, oh wait, that's actually it, that's what they were talking about. So then we see the Doctor actually going into the sewers, and then we meet the Nurse consciousness. It's really changed, I have to admit. I know, I keep saying they have to have new changes, but really? It's like the Great Mighty Pooh from Conker's Bad Fur Day. It's that weird. Why is it just a mush of goop? I mean, originally it was just like a little hard pink shell that I might get a picture up in a second, wherever it is, probably just over there. But anyway, I don't like the design of it. It just does. I don't like it. I'm sorry. It's just. It's a horrible design for such a really cool monster. It's just a shame they had to do that. And then later we see like the Autons actually use their transmitter because they believe that the Doctor's actually evil. But why haven't they recognised him from Terror of the Autons or Spearhead from Space? Why don't they even remember him from those days during Unit? It doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe they don't recognise him, but the only thing they reference is actually the Time War, which is actually a brand new concept. We see that the transmitter works, and they think that the Doctor's an enemy, and then they activate all of the Autons in the city. I think this is really cool how they did it. It kind of reminiscent to Spearhead in Space, how the Autons actually got out and then shot all the citizens of the area where Unit is. I think it was a really cool effect. And then we see Clive die, which is unfortunate. I know he's not really an important character, but... And then later we see Rose being Jungle Jane, wherever it is, and just knocks the Autons out, which also have a medicine in some ways, or an antidote, I would say, that can basically kill the Nestine consciousness. Well, it's like an acid, I would say, in some ways, and then it knocks it out, and then basically they get out via the TARDIS. They arrive back on like a little London corner, I would say, and then basically the Doctor says, "You're welcome. If you want to join me, whatever, come and join me." Well, it wasn't like that, but I say close enough. And Rose says maybe not, because she's got to look after her mum. She's barely point of the plot. She's not even, which I think necessary. She might as well just said, yeah, I'll join you. Leave Mickey behind. But that could have been really interesting theory if, like, when the Doctor left, that he actually went to the Titanic then, and then went to go and see JFK, and then just came back to actually go and see Rose. To see if she actually wanted to join him. And she said, yeah, go on, I'll join you. So in conclusion, what do I think of the story? Well, I think it's good as an opener. Honestly, I think the story is okay. It's just only to introduce really to the concept of Doctor Who. It's just I think it's just good as an opener story. So that's why I'm giving this episode a 6 out of 10. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe if you possibly can, and if you could, please comment below and just say what you thought of the episode. If you thought it was great, fantastic. I'd love to hear what you think about the story itself. I'd love to hear other people's opinions on the actual story itself. And comment below if you want me to continue doing reviews, please tell me what you want me to do it on. I'd love to know what other episodes you want me to tackle, good or bad, which I prefer you don't want me, I prefer not to do. If you want me to do bad episodes, fine, I'll do that. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys soon.